I would say the one thing that has always kept me up at night was cash flow. It was every night. Every night was the cash flow. That was a huge issue for me. We're a small business and it supports our family. It is our sole income.
Yeah.
And to have that weight is a tremendous weight to carry.
Running a creative retail business really shouldn't be so hard. I'm Wendy Batten, and this is the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I am doing a series featuring 3 retailers doing awesome things, and I wanted to share with you what's possible. I am just over the moon excited to have talked to these retailers and have them share their story with you to see what's possible. Hey, everybody, and thanks for joining us. We are here with Amy Czech from Schoolhouse Salvage. I've asked her to be on the podcast today, and we're also doing it simultaneously. We will be showing us on Facebook too. So thank you, Amy, for being here. I'm so
Hello.
excited. I've been bringing retailers on to show what's possible and like you're the epitome of what is possible for retailers and with drive and I'm just so excited and thank you for taking time. I know you're so busy, so I want to honor your time. So can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your business, what you do, all the things that you do. I know you do a lot, and where you're located so people can find you.
Sure. I am, as Wendy said, Amy Czech from Schoolhouse Salvage. We are an architectural salvage and vintage finds warehouse outside of Cleveland, Ohio. And we are 10,000 square feet right now. We started at about 1,100 square feet. We have blossomed into 10,000 square feet. And we do everything from architectural salvage, doors, windows, wood, all the way through. We have some we call pop-up shops, which are vendors and handmade. We have an in-house paint line and several other companion paint lines, and we do all of that out of the warehouse. And we do a good bit online. So we are in our 8th year. Let's see, that's it. I have a good team. It's not just me. I have a good staff. I have a good team, and we're chugging along. And yeah, we have a ton of fun, really.
Yeah, you have a beautiful store. And we're going to be sharing links to Amy's store, Schoolhouse Salvage. And so you can go have a look because I encourage you all to go have a peek and see what she's doing. And it's just crazy. How did you get into this? Do you want to share a little bit about your backstory and how did you?
Yeah, I can. My profession is environmental consulting. So I do building inspections for demolition and renovation on schools, commercial buildings, universities. So way back when, in about 2012, we noticed all of this waste going into dumpsters on our job sites, literally furniture, everything being pushed into dumpsters. So I said to Ron, who is my husband and who will pretty much do anything I ask him to, let's start getting it and putting it in storage units because I know I can sell it. He's like, all right, let's do it. So we loaded up 3 storage units, quickly filled those up, and decided to find a warehouse. And that has now grown into where we are 8 years later, which is 10,000 square feet. And we still do the salvage, but we've added so many other revenue streams. And it's really working well for us. And we still do our consulting, so we still have access to those types of buildings.
Okay, so here's a funny thing. I think you have been in the inner circle and we've been coaching together for 2.5, maybe 3 years now, maybe longer. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I never knew that part of your story, which is
Oh,
funny.
really?
No,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, it's so funny. I don't know why I didn't know that. I know I sort of knew how you morphed into it, but I didn't realize that it was because that.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe we don't talk about it a lot. I don't know, but to us it's just how it evolved. And there is a weird thing with doing a professional service like our consulting business and then also having another division which seems kind of weird to people in the professional world. So maybe that's why we don't talk about it a lot, but we do probably 40 or 50 renovation or demolition projects a calendar year in our consulting division. So it is a pretty big part of our business.
Right. Yeah. So no, I didn't know you did that. I don't know why. I just never put that. That's how it happened. The storage units,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
so
yeah, we were
and
selling out of storage units in the middle of
yeah,
winter one yeah, Ron thought I was crazy until the first person pulled up and filled up their truck with our what he calls garbage and left, and he looked at me, he's like, "Okay, well, where are we gonna get some more stuff?"
right, right.
Yeah.
So kind of an accidental entrepreneur in the
Oh, yeah.
retail business. I mean, in the
Mhm.
retail side, like so many of our retailers are, as far as just kind of morphing into from not hobby. I mean, yours wasn't a hobby, but I guess it kind of was like a vision, right? Of like,
Yeah.
and knowing, but you're so good. It's funny because you have evolved so much. I mean, you are amazing at picking and like knowing what your customers want. I mean, it's incredible. I think that's why I thought you always did that part. Like you're always doing that part. But I guess over the years, that's what we learn, right? Like not just
Yeah, I always somebody asked me a long time ago, one of my professional manager boss people, what I would be doing if I wasn't doing that. And I said I have an antique store, and that was before kids and everything.
oh
And I never really put too much thought into it because you're having kids and you're doing the thing. And then yeah, it just kind of accidentally happened with a lot of support, I guess, from my husband.
yeah. Well, and you're not so, and it's not it's just for the record, her store is beautiful now, super well curated. Like you're really fussy about how you curate your store.
We are, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean it's like it's no longer storage units, just so just so everybody
Yeah, no,
knows.
it's not
Yeah,
storage units.
like
So we have yeah, we have
yeah,
the warehouse, and then we
yes.
have what we call little boutiquey spaces. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely come from a warehouse or from a storage unit situation to where it is now, which when you work in your store all the time, I think you forget to see it through the lens of someone else. And so what you had always said, which I thought was really smart, is look at it from the lens of a shopper. And so in the morning when I come in, I try and have that thought before I start my day because we have come such a long way and it is so tremendous. You have to stop and kind of take stock of that.
Yeah, and again, your story is beautiful, and I think that's maybe why I'm not surprised on how on your evolution. And I probably should know that, but already I should have known that already. But and you're again so well curated, and I mean, you also like you enjoy it. I can tell, like I don't know, does it light you up? What part of this whole process is your favorite part of everything?
Honestly, my favorite part I've learned over the past 10 years because we've had our own business for 10 years is I like to start things. I like to have the idea. I like
Mm.
to, whether it's the business or whether it's a craft or it's a project, I like the idea. And I love making it happen, whether it's financial success or people come in and grab that and think it's fabulous. That's what lights me up because when I saw your question, I was like, huh, that's interesting. And that's what it is. It's the idea and it's seeing what that idea becomes. My staff will tell you I'm not always very good at finishing the idea, but I do love to give them the idea. And then they can run with it.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
good. But that
Mhm.
so to that point, that is actually what we're supposed to be as the CEO. And again, we talk
Mhm.
about the CEO in the inner circle all the time. Amy's also a member of my Level Up Mastermind group, so she's also in the inner circle and Level Up, and that's something we talk about. And like it's being the visionary of your business.
Mhm.
So it's like here's a great idea, go do it. Like so, but
Absolutely.
and taking responsibility for. Um, leading the team, right? So and
Right.
you're so good at that now. I think that it's
And I didn't always used to be, and I'm not good at it every day because it's really hard work. I think if you're a good manager or a good leader, it's really hard work every day. I think you have to consciously be a good leader. At least I do.
I think every leader does. I don't think, and especially in retail, to be honest,
Mhm.
I don't think we have easy days, and it's been especially tough through all this. There's this time that we've been going through, but I'd love to go back a little bit to what used to keep you awake at night. I know there's still things
Mhm.
that keep us awake, talking about hard, right? But what used to keep you awake at night? And I just wanted to like, what was life before you started getting your CEO hat on? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that has always kept me up at night until probably 2 years ago is cash flow. And I think it does for a lot of people if we're really honest. that was a huge issue for me. We're a small business and it supports our family. It is our sole income.
Yeah.
And to have that weight is a tremendous weight to carry. And so the cash flow was always, that would be the thing that I would wake up with. And now it's very rare because I've learned through all of the things that we've implemented from your tools is to figure out what cash flow I need, figure out my revenue streams so I can actually forecast it. I am really good at forecasting our consulting business, really good at it. For some reason, I never thought to forecast my retail side. It was like when you said that, I was like, well, of course, why wouldn't I forecast it? So now we've backed into the revenue streams that I know I have each month. And if I'm working them, I have a great level of comfort of how much we're going to make, and so I don't worry about it. I mean, I still do wake up at night worrying about money once in a while, but I mean, it was every night. Every night was the cash flow. And so that's been huge for me.
Yeah, especially when you have both of you in the business. My husband and I are
Mhm.
the same. Like we are a couple that run a business. So you're always, there's not this like nice steady
There's no
corporate paycheck coming in,
no.
right?
And
So
if you're not working it right, you don't know if you're going to have the money to sustain your household, and that's huge for us. So once we got a handle on that and started treating that differently, it's been huge for us. Also had a little bit of a mindset shift, and I don't know specifically where it came from, but probably a lot of different places. When I start getting that anxiety or stress in that negativity of where the money's coming from, I divert it intentionally to action items that will be positive. So, for instance, if I'm sitting here going, "Oh, how am I making payroll?" which happens, worse, it happens.
yeah.
Instead of that, I'm up, I'm out of my chair, I'm figuring out how I'm making payroll, and I'm doing actionable items positively instead of negatively. And that's been huge for me because I'm an anxious person. So that was huge for me.
Yeah, and you are very good at, you're talking about action items, and I've heard you say, figuring out like what revenue streams you want to go after, and like that's a big key, I think. So knowing that we need to sell this much paint from our paint line, or we need to sell this much salvage this week, or this much vintage,
Mhm.
or whatever it is, and that's how we market too. And I've seen you like this is my target. This is how I'm going to sell it. Like, this is, if we don't know, we're just shooting in the dark, right? Like we're just hoping, and hope is not a strategy. I say that all the time. Hope
Yeah.
is not a strategy. I hope people walk in the door. I hope we sell. And, we're not going to sell unless we do the action items, exactly like what you said. And
And
you
that's
are an
yeah,
action
that's
taker.
so I am. And I know that it drives everybody in my circle crazy because I tend to pivot and move a lot faster than probably is sane or normal or that they can tolerate. But I go and I do it. I tend to not waste time, but I don't get mired down in the details. I just do it. Now we don't hit we're not really good. One area we're not really good at is like long range planning. I started the year very, very good, then got a little off track there in March. And I'd say we're pretty good about a month ahead of time. I really want to get back to my longer range planning.
Oh,
But I've just decided that that's an area that I need to be patient with myself on
okay.
because
Can we
we're
just have a
doing
little? Can we just have a little coaching session here right now, just between you and me? So she got off track. You got off track in March. Well, what happened in March of this
well, we
year? I mean,
close. Yeah,
for the love, my
right.
goodness. Like, yeah, it's like, and I know. So there's that, um, uh, again, a couple of years ago, I don't think you were that well planned, and now you're annoyed that you're not planned out, right? So
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you've really done a lot of work, you have put the work in. I have like seeing you just work and work and work and tackle an area, master it. Like again, I know you say you move around a lot, but you don't. You work really hard. Like whether it's team or revenue streams or cash flow or whatever, we're going to do this.
Right.
We're going to get some kind of system in place.
Well,
Nobody likes systems, but you're really like yeah, anyway.
I love my
She's my
system.
golden child, golden student, my A
My
student. I'm putting
system binder needs a little overhaul right now, and
right,
that's on the
right.
list. But to be honest, it's not always been like that. And you were around when it was January and I was closing. I'm like, that's it. I'm done. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
And to be able to, that's happened to me twice in my 8 years. And to be able to say, no, we're going to pivot and we're going to do it a different way and follow the things that you have kind of laid out for us, I think has just been huge for me.
Yeah.
Systems being one of them. But yeah, the focus is a big thing. The focus has been huge. What am I doing today? I even get it down to like, what am I doing between now and at 3 when I have to leave? So it's a big thing.
Yeah. Before we jumped on the call, she's like, okay, we got like this much time. I got a live
I
sale
got a
coming
live at
on. So
3.
it's just like, I was like, okay, appreciate your time. So can you just talk a little bit to what you have done? Because I have really like, again, anybody that was paying attention, you said, oh, I got a little off track in March, but I have been watching you thrive through this crazy time. And before we went live, we had a little conversation, and we talk in our groups a lot about it. But there's a lot of positive things happening with a lot of retailers, even through this hard season or whatever, again, whatever we're calling this whole pandemic time. There's always hard times. There's always going to be a hard time for retailers. And, again, you looked at the opportunities that were available and you're like, okay, I'm not lying down. I'm not like, forced to close our stores and all the bad things that were happening. It's like, let's take like 30 seconds to feel sorry for ourselves, right? Which is maybe not even what you took. And can you just speak to some of the things that you've put in place to just like how you actioned it through the last few months?
Yeah, I don't really know that we even took a beat to figure out what was going on because that's not in my nature.
I know.
As things were unfolding, we closed a week earlier so that we could kind of get people home and get some remote working set up. And then we just kept working. So we do 3 lives a week, and we have been for 2 years. So to us, it was just like, okay, we'll close the front doors and I'm just going to keep working. It was our busiest 6 to 8 weeks that I've ever experienced. We brought all 6 of us in my immediate family. We worked dawn till dusk, and we had our best months ever. I looked up the number in April. We had 1,300 orders that we processed in April, and that is all from people virtually shopping. And we didn't really think about it. I'll be honest with you. The only thing I thought of is, am I going to get arrested for going to my store? And then I decided that I didn't care because if I'm not working, we aren't feeding our kids. So to me, there's no option there. There's really never any option. It's just, this is what we have to do. So we just kept going, and our customers were amazing, absolutely amazing, and they continue to be amazing. But we served them, and the more we heard from them that we were providing them respite from the stress of the pandemic, it made me feel like energized, right? I was exhausted, but I knew they were waiting for us to turn on the camera. So it was just, we just did it. And pretty soon it was over, and my team is back. And that's weird too. But, we just do it. We just pivot and go. That's what we do.
So she makes it sound super simple, right? But I know you were really tired.
I was tired. Yes.
There were great, no one did this easily. I don't think anybody can say, oh, it was a piece of cake,
No, it wasn't
But
easy.
I mean, I would just like to pick up that you said, you had your best months ever
Mhm.
in the history of
Ever.
ever. And that didn't happen just because, oh, we're going to switch gears and go do Facebook lives. You've been doing them for a long time, but you know your people so well. You have been building, again, back to this, knowing what they like, what to curate for them. And it's such a joy watching Amy's lives. You have to go watch her lives. You're going to want to buy all the things, first of all. It is. And she's like, they all know each other, and they're all like, you've built this amazing community, which, you know, big stores don't do that, right? So,
Right.
yes, they can go buy on Amazon, but they're buying, or they can go elsewhere, but they're buying from you because they just gravitate to your thoughtfulness, I guess, and you do care. And like you just said, they light you up, and they were energizing you, and you can feel that in your lives. You can still as you continue to do that. So I just want to brag on you about that for a little bit, because it's been really impressive watching. And again, when you say you didn't miss a beat, I didn't see it, so that's why I wondered if there was even 30
Yeah.
seconds. It was, we have to feed our family. And just for the record, she didn't break any laws.
No, I didn't break any laws.
You didn't after. I think you
It's
did check
really
after, but
funny.
you are like, I gotta go. You're like,
I
I'm going
gotta
to the
go.
store until they tell me I can't,
Yeah,
right?
it's funny because the first day I got here myself, I was here myself filling orders, and I realized that our truck was vandalized in the back. So I had to call the police, and he came, And he didn't even ask what I was doing there. He took the police report and he asked if I owned the business. I said yes. And he said, okay, lock the back door. And I was like, yeah, I own the business. I'm working in my own office with my 6 people. And it we just did it. And it was exhausting. I will tell you that. It was exhausting. But it was crazy. It was
Yeah.
just crazy as well. So
Yeah. Yeah.
once we got our hands around it, got some systems in place, it was manageable.
Right. And that was part of it. I did notice that not stopped what you were doing, but you recognized right away, okay, we need to put a system in place. I got to show these kids. She had her kids working.
Yes.
It was really fun. And
Oh my
you were
yes,
sharing all that. It was pretty
yes,
fun watching,
yes.
I think your daughter Emily became one of your like prize packers, and
She
like,
is.
it's like she was packing hundreds of boxes every
We
week. And
went from like maybe 30 boxes. At some point, we were sending out 80 boxes a 7-day period. I mean, that's crazy growth. And then you can't get packing paper, and there's it was coordination was crazy. But honestly, I should have asked Ron, but I just feel like we just kept working, mainly because our other business was essential. So he had to keep working. So for us, it was very surreal because we left every day and went to work. And we always did grocery delivery. I don't go to the grocery store for the most part. So to us, it was just weird because we were still doing our normal thing. Um, so
yeah,
yeah, it was crazy.
it was interesting because we'd have coaching calls and everybody was saying like, I've got to learn how to buy groceries and stuff, like other members, and
Yeah.
you're like, we're just selling things. I'm just like worrying about this. But you were homeschooling too. There was a lot of other things going
Well, I
on.
was
So yeah.
supposed to be home teaching, but
Yeah.
it did not go very well.
Yeah. So she was teaching them how to pack boxes
Oof,
anyway. So yeah,
something.
it was very impressive watching how again, put systems in place really quickly, to make it more efficient and to make it work, right? Because if
Yeah.
there were no systems, there's chaos. Without systems, there's chaos, right? So,
Yeah, and when my team came back or stopped in
oh
or
yes,
whenever they were able to, they're like, "What is going on here? What is all this stuff?" And I'm like, "Don't touch any of it. I've got it all laid out the way I needed to."
we have
Uh,
a system.
I have
Yeah,
a system. They
yeah.
have now come back and they have made my systems better. So I was thankful for that.
Right. So you've been really good at delegating to your team too, which is something that's really hard for a lot of us. A lot of us are solopreneurs and control freaks, and I say us because I always included myself in that for a long time until I realized, hey, if I delegate out, and that's something we talk about a lot in the inner circle about, and you've been so good at that, putting systems in place and saying, hey, you do this, right? So
Yeah.
I
And
feel
that's
like
not
that's been,
easy. Yeah,
yeah,
that delegating's not easy. You have to plan. And I know when I don't plan, it's a mess here during the week. So I
right.
think a lot of people don't delegate because there's a lot of it's too hard. No one does it the way I do it. And there's a lot of ego involved in that. And I think once you get through that and understand that you're not going to grow until you accept the fact that you have to delegate and you're not a business owner, you're an employee of your business.
Yeah. That's a
Um,
big distinction, isn't it?
it's a huge distinction.
Yeah.
And I think until you get there and want to put the work in to delegate, because it's not easy. It's
Yeah.
not easy to delegate, but the trade off is huge. The growth is what you can do with a team behind you as far as growth and serving your customer is beyond what you can do on your own. You just can't do it on your own.
No, no. And it is, a lot of people have just created jobs for themselves, right?
Hmm.
Just like, and a lot of stress about, all the things. So it's super important. Again, back to putting that CEO hat on. I have a quick question about what do you think, if I were to ask you, what impact, just being in the inner circle has had, would you be able to throw an answer at us on that? Or where do you feel that has helped you in your journey of getting these systems and things in place?
Well, I was gonna close. I remember it was a January. I think it was January of what year are we in? 2020. Was it January of 2019? I think.
I
Was
think,
that the first year we were in the level up? Right. That was your first year. And I was like, all right, I'm closing. Let's figure out how to do this. But that wasn't the answer. And so the support that comes from both the level up group and the larger group the support is amazing. So aside from the tools, because I have no idea how to run a retail business, like none. I mean, everything from what you teach us as far as signage, everything. I mean, who knew? I don't know any of that. So I would say the tools and the support are by far the two biggest things ever. Um, I probably could put a lot more of thought into this answer, but
Well,
those
that's
two
okay.
things that come to mind when I think of you, and that's how I think of the inner circle is you. Um, that's what I feel. I feel support, and I feel like there are real tools, like real. Give me the. I'm a nuts and bolts person. I don't need more rah rah. I don't need more woo woo and coaching. I need tools. Give me the tools, and that's what I get here.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really great. I'm glad you say what I feel, if I can say, that the communities, especially like right now, I said to somebody the other day, I feel like it's just been the inner circle helped a lot of people just get through this crappy time, because not everybody was able to just keep working like you were. We had to kind of come together, but your support to other retailers has been immeasurable. Like I know, so Amy does Facebook lives and Facebook live sales, as we've mentioned,
Mhm.
and she just came in the group, we talked about it. Everybody, it's not for everybody, and there was different ways, and everybody does things a little bit differently. That's what I like about the group. It's like, here's some ideas, and everybody kind of takes it with their own creative spin and does it their own way. And I know the group really appreciates all your feedback and input in there too. I think one day you wrote, just do it, to somebody, and she's like, because Amy's very nuts and bolts, like, just do it, like,
Yeah.
just
Just turn
this
the
person's
camera
in your,
on and do it. Right.
yeah,
Stop
somebody,
talking
I
about
think
it. Just
yeah,
do
and it
it.
was like, just do
Yeah.
it. And they were like, I
Yeah.
just did it and it
Yeah.
worked.
I
It
mean,
was
just
just
do it. I
funny.
think so much of the time we spend analyzing every single thing. You're never going to move forward. Just
Yeah.
pick something and do it. And I mean, I've made some real crap decisions, whether it's a bad product line
Yeah.
or we all make them. But
Yeah.
in the absence of being scared to make the wrong decision, you're doing nothing.
Yeah.
So I say
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
Just,
So it
yeah,
is true. Just do it. Right. So
do it.
that's sort of, it's fun. And we do have to do things. We have to try things and fail at them. And
Mhm.
everything's not successful. And everybody doesn't go, I know, I don't want it to make it sound like, everybody doesn't go from, have their best 3 months ever during a pandemic without doing the work either. Right. And without trying all these things and without doing all these things. It's not a matter of like, putting in some work and you're gonna have your best 3 months ever. It's consistently doing
Yeah,
all
that's
of the things, right? And
it's such
building
a
them
good
all up.
point.
Yeah.
Yes, it's such a good point because this is 8 years in with a lot of consistent work, and it is work. So, I mean, when I hear feedback with, "Oh, well, that's just a lot of work." Well, it is work. I mean,
Uh,
I'm not just turning the camera on and counting my cash.
yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it, and so that is a really good point. It's showing up consistently, which is so hard, you guys. I mean, show up consistently at the
The
same
smile,
time,
yeah.
the same place, with a smile on your face and a happy heart for your customers. It's hard, but that's work. That's a
Yeah.
job. That's what we're here for. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
right. It's not just instant.
I really feel like, taking the time to dial in everything and do that hard work to learn how to like dial in everything. We're always talking about, just again, learning your numbers and then tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and doing the work and doing the work, putting the systems in place, tweaking, tweaking, tweaking. And then you see the results. And this is what have seen with you. And that's why again, why I want to bring you on to show people like what's possible when you do the work and when you just stay consistent and you
Yeah.
show up with your happy heart, even if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So we
You know,
all have days where we don't want to show
I
up with our
know.
happy heart,
I think
so.
it was on my list this week to pull up my very first live and share it to the page so that
Oh,
people can
wow.
see, because I'm sure it's terrible, but you just have to keep going. And I had like one person watching, and it was my sister. So
Yeah.
I mean, it
Yeah.
just start. That's why I just encourage people to start, whatever it is, not even a live, whatever it is. If you have to put a system in place or if you have to hire somebody, just start. Just take the
Yeah.
first step.
Yeah. And it is funny because we do look at, like, I've seen people in the group say, Oh my gosh, Amy's so good at Facebook Lives and live sales. Mine only had 20 people show up. And I'm like, 20 people in your first live sale? That's awesome, right? And Amy's got hundreds or whatever. But again, just start, just start, just start.
Mhm.
So I appreciate your time, Amy. I appreciate you being here. I know we got to run. You got a live sale. You got to show up with your
I
happy
have
heart.
to clean the hair and
So
makeup and get ready for my
get
sale.
ready. Can you, before we go, I again love to share things with retailers listening. I would love to know like a quote or some advice that you've received or something that's playing in your head a lot or that you have on a wall or whatever that means a lot to you. Would you share that with everybody?
I don't necessarily have a quote, but I make a conscious effort every day now for the past couple years to channel all of my energy into positive activity. I think I am a very anxious person. I always have been, but when I made that mindset shift to just channel that negativity into positive action, it's been life changing for me, from parenting to spouse relationship to work life. It's just been huge. And I'm not a woo woo person. Wendy will tell you I'm not woo woo. I'm just talking positive as opposed to negative. It's easy to be negative. It's hard to make that shift consciously just to be positive.
Yeah, that's great advice. So, and you don't have to be woo woo anything to be positive. It is mindset. And just for the record, we talk about mindset inside the inner circle. And honestly, people like sometimes they're like,
Yeah.
but we don't talk about it in a woo woo way. I don't think
No,
anyway. We talk about it
no.
in a practical way and how to think like a leader and not and
Mhm.
a boss and a business owner, right? And a human, a good human. So I appreciate you, and that's amazing advice. I really love that. It's a great way to end. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And we're going to be sharing. Well, where would you like us to send everybody?
Probably to our website, schoolhousesalvage.com. It's got links to wherever you can find us, wherever we're selling or chatting or all of those things. It's a good place to start.
Awesome. And one thing I forgot to mention, I wanted to brag on you a little bit. Uh-oh. You know
I
what I'm going to say.
forgot.
You know what I'm going to say, right?
You know,
You know what I'm going to say. Go ahead and brag a little bit about something that
we have
happened.
an app, you guys. An app in the Apple App Store. Schoolhouse Salvage has an app, and I can't believe I forgot to even say it. It's been like 4 weeks now, and all of a sudden I'm just above it, right? We have an app, and it's ridiculous. I can't even stand how exciting it is.
I know I get this Facebook message, I think at the like, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night one night. I have to tell you, I have an app. I have an app. We have an app. We have an app. There's an app here. It's like Schoolhouse Salvage app. Oh, just during a pandemic, she just
Just
created an
have an
app,
app.
had an app. So you can find her on Apple App Store. What is it called? The App Store
Yep, the
at
App
Schoolhouse
Store.
Salvage. So like the
Mhm.
first thing I did was, and it's amazing. And I'm so proud of you for that. It is
Thank
so
you.
cool. It was a big, I don't know, it was a big, I don't know. We all
It
did
was
happy
huge
dancing.
for
So
me.
yeah,
Oh, it
yeah,
was huge, and yeah,
yeah.
I
So
I I
so we can
forgot.
find, where can we find you?
On my app at Schoolhouse Salvage.
To get used to that. We will share her app. Can I share an app? I don't even know.
You
Anyway,
can,
so
and you can watch my live videos in the app, which
that's right.
is so fun. It's
It
like
is fun.
Amy in your pocket. It's like you have me right here. You just put me in your pocket.
See why everybody loves her? Anyway, thank you, Amy. We will share the app, the
Thank you.
website, the Facebook page, and you all have to go check her out. And you will love the lives and, become friends with all her customers. Everybody talks to everybody and buy all the things. So
Thank you.
see how easy she makes it. So thank you so much, Amy. I know we got to let you go so you can go do your live. So thanks so much for joining us. And
Bye.
thanks everybody for watching. Bye. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I know how precious your time is, and I'm so appreciate you taking time out of your crazy day to be here with us. All the links for today's show can be found at wendybatten.com/podcast. We'd also like to invite you to come over and continue the conversation over on my free Facebook group. It's called Rockstar Creatives. I'm going to be popping in there live every week to continue the conversation, talk a little bit about what we spoke about today. And I'd love for you to join us over there, Rockstar Creatives on Facebook. I'd also love to ask, if it's not too much trouble, if you could leave me a review and let me know what you think of the podcast. If you're loving the show, be sure that you're subscribing to the podcast so you don't miss an episode. I'd hate for you to miss one. It's been such a pleasure to be here with you today. I'll see you next week here on the Creative Shop Talk podcast.